Welcome to another episode of Rambling with Phil. And today we're going to be talking about the 2019 Volkswagen Tiguan SE. And we're going to compare it, or I'm going to tell you about the differences between the SE and the S on today's Rambling Car Review. So for those of you who don't know, or maybe wondering, where does the word Tiguan come from? Now we all know that Volkswagen is a German company, but we don't necessarily know where the word Tiguan comes from. Well, if you don't know how to speak German, which I don't know how to speak German. However, in doing a little bit of research and, just kind of searching the internet, the Tiguan actually comes from a naming contest. Way back, my assumption is that way back when Volkswagen was coming out with the first edition of the Tiguan, they were looking for a new name. So they had this contest. I don't know who actually entered it or who won, but Tiguan is actually a combination of two words. The word for tiger in German and the word for iguana in German. So the word for tiger in German is Tiger, and the word for iguana is Liguan. And I know I may be butchering those words a little because, as I did mention, German, I don't know how to speak German. But anyways, so they took Tiga. So they took the T, or T-I, and actually, interestingly enough, tiger spelled in Germany, or in German, is the same spelling. And then they took the last part of Liguan, for the German word for iguana, and they put the two together, and they got Tiguan. So the actual way you are supposed to pronounce that, if you're going to pronounce that, the German way is to pronounce it as the Tiguan. It's not the Tiguan or Tiguan or Tiguan or anything like that. The proper way to pronounce it, the German way, is Tiguan. And interestingly enough, we were on a Northern Europe cruise 2 years ago in 2017. And this was before the switchover or the new body style. But if you've never been on one of those cruises and you're, in the cabin on some downtime and watching some of the programs, the commercials are not in English. I think they are in Polish. But anyways, we're just watching these shows and a commercial comes on and it's a commercial about the Tiguan. But the thing is, as they're going through the commercial and, they're talking about the car, obviously, and we don't understand what they're talking about, all of a sudden, when they say the name Tiguan, it's like, blah, 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 Tiguan. And then they go on again with the rest of the sentence. And I don't know why they did it. Maybe it was just to catch your attention, but it would be blah, 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 blah in some other language. And then they go, Tiguan. And then they blah, 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 blah. So, in other words, it's blah, 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 Tiguan, blah, 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 blah. So it was kind of, interesting, and ironically, now I'm reviewing a 2019 Volkswagen Tiguan. So a little story there that's not really relevant to the car review, but I just thought that was kind of interesting that happened back then. And I've always remembered that commercial because just out of nowhere, they just go Tiguan. So, hey, what can I say? I thought it was I still think it's funny, but that's just me. Anyway, on to the review of the 2019 Tiguan SE, which is one step up from the Tiguan S. The Tiguan S is the base. So this is the interior, or at least the front dash panel of the 2019 Volkswagen Tiguan. So I'm just going to pan initially. Now the 2019 Tiguan, and I guess it's actually the same with the 2018, with the SE, you have a larger display screen here. So on the SE, it's larger. I believe it's 8+ inches. On the S, the base model S, the diagonal dimension of the screen is like 6 or so inches. So it's a little bit smaller. If you'll notice, and you probably notice again, I'm wearing Crocs. Maybe I'll come out with my own Rambling with Phil Croc line, I don't know. But anyways, you may notice that the bottom of the steering wheel is flat. I have no idea why they do that, but it is flat. I know some of the sports cars, I don't know, I haven't driven one, but I'm assuming that the Ferrari also has a flat bottom steering wheel. A lot of the race cars have them, so I'm not sure why they have it in this car, but they do. I'm not sure I feel like I'm driving a sports car or a race car when I drive this because of that, but you know, it's got it. One of the differences, again, with the Tiguan SE versus the S is the Tiguan SE has a leather-wrapped steering wheel. Otherwise, the rest of the steering wheel looks the same. The Tiguan SE has the start-stop button for the engine, so it has keyless start. The S does not have that button. The SE has heated leatherette seats, and I say leatherette because you know, they're not leather. And the SE also has an upgraded, I suppose, climate control. And over here, this is the glove box. Interesting thing, this car has a CD player. There is this handy tray here up on the dash. I have no idea why they decided, Volkswagen decided to do that. You know, it's handy to put things in, but your stuff's all exposed. This mirror is nothing special. It's your basic mirror. There is a handy little sunglass storage container here. And I guess if you don't need sunglasses, I think it's actually big enough for your sandwich if you want to put it there. There are power mirrors, and of course, well, I say of course, but you know, this does have power heated mirrors. On some cars, this interestingly enough, on some cars, basically to get the heated mirrors working, you just push the button for the rear defrost. But on this car, you rotate the knob, and then, you know, the heated mirrors come on. So, you know, that's, I'm not really sure why they did that, but, you know, whatever. And of course, it comes with power door locks. This car does come with auto headlights. There is also a convenient tray here for your change. It's actually quite big. You're not going to get, well, unless you have huge hands, you're not going to get your hand stuck in there trying to get money out of the cookie, trying to get cookies out of the cookie jar. So this is the instrument cluster. There's your reset for your trip. Interesting story. I've driven more than the half a mile, but if you watch my trailer wiring harness video, you will actually get an explanation on why that's only gone half a mile since I reset the last trip. On the SE, and this is similar on the S, you have two analog dials, and then you have in the middle, you know, sort of the info screen. There is like a little info thing in the middle of your dash, and you know, we've got the range left on the gas tank. You got your fuel economy. There's nothing there because I really haven't driven the car very much since my incident. But you know, kind of go through the different screens. There are your assist systems. So this car, the SE, comes with blind spot monitor, rear traffic, cross traffic warning, and also front assist. So if you get too close to the guy in front of you, you're going to get this big warning in this screen. The blind spot monitoring, you can kind of see in the corner of the mirror there. That'll light up if there's a car that's kind of in your blind spot. The SE comes with that standard. The on the S, the Tiguan S, you can get these items. You can purchase these items as an option under the driver convenience package. Start-stop system is deactivated. Now the start-stop is the thing that turns your car off when you're sitting at a light. You know, it's just to save gas. It's kind of an annoyance. But if you go over here, there's this button here that you can push to turn it on or off. and then when it's lit up, it means it's off. On this car, and like a lot of newer cars these days, instead of having a manual handbrake, it's an electronic parking brake. So you just pull up on it and it's, you know, the brake is applied. You push down, actually it doesn't do anything. You got to push your foot down on the brake and, you know, then it will release it. Now on this car, like a lot of new cars, there are USB plugs. So there are 2 USB plugs on this car, and you can't see it behind all the wires, or maybe you can. There is an aux plug as well. There is something here to you know, run your devices that are not run off of a USB. Okay, so here is the main screen in the center console. As I move my hand closer, you'll see that the screen changes. There are a bunch of things that you can do on this screen. So you go to menu, and you know, it gives you all kinds of options. I don't think I'm going to go through like a tutorial of this, because it actually, you know, that's going to take a long time for this video. I'm kind of just reviewing the car. This kind of, you know, it kind of works like an iPhone, you know, or tablet, whatever. So, you know, it kind of works the same way with the touch screen. App Connect, that's where you can connect your CarPlay. I'm gonna just pop that up in a second. Climate control. So all the stuff that you can do down here, you can actually do up here on your screen. So you can adjust your temperatures, where stuff's coming out of, you know, which vents, all that kind of stuff. Pretty cool. So I always like to show CarPlay. Well, I guess I don't. I did miss that on one of my reviews. But I do like to show CarPlay when it pops up, because I like CarPlay. The nice thing about CarPlay, and that's partly why, and I'm actually, I guess I'm going to let it out of the bag. We did purchase this vehicle. Or the reason we like the Tiguan, or one of the reasons, is because it has CarPlay. I really like CarPlay. This car does not come with navigation, and we don't need navigation because we have CarPlay and we have maps. And obviously that's the map button right there. The backup camera does turn with your steering wheel, or at least it does have a guide to go with your steering wheel. Here's a look at the interior of the car from the outside. There is a handy little, well, it's kind of little, but you know, if you have a lot of napkins, that's a good place to put them. This box does, I don't know, I guess it's decent. It's probably about 8 inches deep or so. I don't know, probably 6 by 6, something like that. And there are cup holders, and I'm not really sure what the benefit of having this is, but there are cup holders. Here's the back seat. It's fairly, you know, for a smaller car. Actually, it's a compact SUV. The back seat is actually quite spacious. And in the back there is also another USB and a port, or not a port, but a charging plug. Oops. Okay, in order for that to work, you actually have to slide the seat belts into these handy clips, or they get in the way. Okay. So there is a negative about this cargo cover. It actually doesn't go all the way to the back of the seat. So you can actually, there is a space. You can get an aftermarket cargo cover for about $80 from Amazon. But since this was part of the purchase of the vehicle, I don't think I'm going to spend an extra $80. I'm just going to live with it. What you have to do is you pull this strap, and it will drop the seat. And it is, you know, relatively flat. Now this actually gives away that this actually has a third row. And of course, when you have the third row up, there isn't quite as much cargo space back here. To get to the back seat, you actually pull this lever here. You don't pull the one down here. You pull this one. Because what that does is it moves the seat forward, leans it forward, then you gotta give it, you gotta shove it a little bit of strength, and it moves the seat forward. I don't know, you gotta try and get back there all on your own somehow. Okay. All right. So I did get back here. One thing you have to do though, these headrests, you got to push them up. Otherwise they'll be in the middle of your back. And these rear seats are, you know, they're really meant for kids. There's not a lot of room back here. Alright, so I am back here. You know, we have to actually adjust the seat up front there. But I think this is probably about as far as I'm going to adjust this, because look at where my knees are. But, you know, the seat in the middle does slide back and forth, so there is some adjustment, but that also means that there's not much room for the people in the middle seat. So really the back seat is the seat of choice for a little kid. In a pinch it'll work, but I don't think you really want to be, you know, I don't think you really want to be doing this for a really long trip. I think that was how far I had the seat back. That's pretty tight. You know, that's pretty tight, but you know what? It's still doable. I mean, yeah, my knees are, you know, on the back of the front of the seat, but they're not like jammed in there. So actually, it's doable for the second or middle seaters. Okay, so here I am. I'm sitting in the back seat. Like I said, my knees are right up against the back seat here, but that's because I have the seat adjusted in such a way that the people in the third row still have some room. Now, if I were to adjust this for seating without a third row person, I would actually just come down here, pull this latch, push the seat all the way back, and now I've got tons of room. You know, it's just a matter of how many people you have in the car, and you know, sort of how long you're gonna be in the car and doing things, that type of thing. So you know, it gives you that little bit of extra versatility if you suddenly have a couple extra people that you need to carry somewhere. Okay, on the SE, the front driver's seat is a power seat. However, there are no memory switches. On the S, it is a manual seat. To get the middle seat down at 20%, you push the button here, and it drops forward. So, you know, if you have a pair of skis or 2x4s, you know, that is where you can stick them. And in the middle seat, you yank that down and you have some cup holders in the middle and an armrest. The SE or the S does not come with the power trunk. Tiguan SE does come with a Tiguan SE badge. The Tiguan S just says Tiguan. The Tiguan comes standard with 17-inch tires or wheels. So to open up the hood, you pull the latch inside and then you flip the latch in there. And that will release the latch. This is where your front impact warning thing is. I guess there's a camera in there. So the Tiguan is powered by a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's the TSI. Now the interesting thing about these 2-liter turbos on Volkswagen nowadays, or at least with this one, is it runs on regular unleaded. In the past, you had to run them on super. It does have a lower horsepower rating. It only has 184 horsepower, but it does have a little over 200 foot-pounds of torque. The gas mileage is rated at, I believe, 22 miles per hour, or sorry, 22 miles per gallon in the city and 29 miles per gallon highway. This is the only engine offered in North America. In Europe, there are diesel versions and different gas engines or petrol engines available. As far as it being peppy, it's alright. I wouldn't say it's a powerhouse. You do have a sport mode on your shifter that does make it, it delays shifting and gives you a little more response. However, like I said, it's not, you know, you're not going to be winning any races, but it is adequate, you know, for everyday driving. So the 2019 Volkswagen Tiguan is, in my opinion, really fun to drive. I actually enjoyed driving it a lot more than I expected. It is a good car for going out of town. It's so easy to drive on the highway. It's unbelievable. And if you're not careful, even though it's got a small engine, if you're not careful, you could end up going a little faster than you think. The car is just so well balanced, and it shares the same platform with, I believe, the Jetta and the Passat. So, you know, for an SUV, you know, it's kind of amazing that it's on the same platform, but it is a smaller, you know, it is the compact SUV. So it's not the large SUV like the Atlas, which is on a different platform. Thanks for watching another episode of Rambling with Phil, and I hope you enjoyed this rambling car review on the 2019 Volkswagen Tiguan SE and the information I gave you on the difference between an SE and an S. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rambling with Phil.